What is good, everybody? This is your guy Manny, and this is the Talking Sports with Manny YouTube channel. So we're gonna talk waiver wires. Um, this is week 9. This is a pivotal week. Some of you guys are trying to get back to 500. Some of you guys need this win this week to be 4-5 to go ahead and get that next win come week 10. Tons and tons of information to go over. Biggest news today has been Henry Ruggs with that fatal accident, where he was driving under the influence. And then he had a big accident, and then the person that he had an accident with passed away. So his career might be over. You're talking about, I'm hearing 2 years minimum jail time. So we don't know what's about to happen, but man, it's just a tough situation. But without further ado, I'm going to run my intro, and we'll go ahead and get this thing popping. If I can actually find my intro. All right, man, we are back, man. Like I said, welcome to the Talking Sports with Manny YouTube channel. Please like, please subscribe, and please share. Let's get this thing on and popping. So with Henry Ruggs being out for the foreseeable future, whether you're playing in a dynasty league, whether you're playing in a keeper league, or even a redraft, Hunter Renfrow now becomes the number one wide receiver for the Raiders. I understand that Bryan Edwards is there. I'm a Bryan Edwards fan, but he just has not had that connection with Derek Carr. So look for more targets for a guy like Renfrow. He's going to be that guy. Renfrow's going to be that guy. Obviously, Darren Waller's dealing with injuries. He should be back this week. But if not, go ahead and grab Darren Waller's backup, Monroe, once again, and then, play him once again because he had a great week, the week that he did play. Now, Deshawn Jackson has been released. And when I think, where can Deshawn Jackson actually go to get minutes and at the same time have an impact on the team? He's leaving a really good Rams team that just got Von Miller. Rams are possibly a Super Bowl lock right now on paper, but obviously you got to play the games. Now, if Von Miller, so with Von Miller going there and with all the hype that the Rams have generated, Tutu Atwell is probably going to be out for a while. You know what I'm saying? I'm hearing Tutu Atwell is out for the season. But with all that being said, Deshaun Jackson still wants to leave. That just tells you something. It tells you something. What that tells me is that Deshaun Jackson is not interested in necessarily winning a Super Bowl or being on a Super Bowl team and not contributing. He wants to be a part of the team. So what I was thinking is, with what just happened to Henry Ruggs is a guy who goes deep for deep routes, right? Insert Deshaun Jackson on the Vegas Raiders, and you get that same type of player. Now, obviously, Deshaun has been doing it for a while. Deshaun is more polished as a wide receiver, so I'll take Deshaun Watson there. I'm going to pull up some numbers. We're going to go over the wide receiver ones, the wide receiver twos, like we normally do. And then we'll kind of go from there. I'm going to use a scoring scale that's 4 touchdowns per quarterback passing touchdown. So let me pull up these numbers real quick. And whether you're watching the replay or you're watching it currently, please be sure to share this thing out. It really helps me out a lot. So I appreciate you guys for doing that for me. Let's start with the quarterbacks. Look at the season total for all players. Not season total, week 8. So Patrick Mahomes had a terrible game. If you guys were on my stream last night, you guys will see that I was not excited. I was not excited at all to have him on my team. I'm going to share my screen. Let me get this tab up. All right, so hopefully you guys can see my screen for those of you guys that are watching and not the guys that are listening to the audio. You just have to just listen. So Josh Allen was the QB1 this week. Josh Allen. Look, to be honest, Josh Allen was having a terrible game. I had Josh Allen in a few leagues, and I was thinking, you know what, it's going to be a dud. But until late, Josh Allen caught fire. I mean, he had 249 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, and then he ran the ball 8 times for 55 yards and a touchdown. So that was real solid on Josh Allen's part. A little bit of news also today. Noah Fant is placed on that COVID list. So, here goes the Broncos once again with some COVID spreading within the team. I believe I saw a quarterback, Jake Fromm, and also Tanner Gentry, the wide receiver. They all have COVID, and they all are going to be out for a while. Now, we continue to move on. Mike White was QB2 this week. It's crazy because I picked up Mike White in so many dynasty leagues because he was out there. Nobody wanted him, but I didn't play him. Had I played him, I probably would have lost by 4 instead of losing by 30-something. Jimmy Garoppolo was QB3. Tom Brady, QB4. Justin Fields, QB5. The minute I dropped Justin Fields, he starts to kill it. And it was a super flex league, but with so many injuries and a limited bench space, I had to drop Justin Fields. Stafford, 6. Tannehill, 7. Geno Smith, 8. David Mills, 9. Joe Burrow, 10. Carson Wentz, 11. And Cooper Rush, 12. Would you guys believe me if I told you guys I have rosters of Cooper Rush, Geno Smith, and Mike White? Actually, in one of my leagues, I rolled out a Geno Smith and Cooper Rush combo, and they got me a victory. I mean, with bye weeks and with everything that's going on with injuries and COVID and things of that nature, you pretty much have to do what you have to do. So for me, that's what really happened there. Who else do we have? So those are the top 12. Daniel Jones was on the outside looking in. Tua Tagovailoa was out there. Justin Herbert. So it was a bad week for quarterbacks. Quarterbacks really didn't even perform. Guys like Aaron Rodgers and Herbert struggled. Mahomes struggled big time. And then you look at some of the other quarterbacks out here. Mac Jones, Jalen Hurts had his first dud. Okay, had his first dud. Sometimes it just happens like that. So yeah, there was a lot of bad quarterback play this week. But if you started Mike White or Jimmy Garoppolo, for those of us who play these 0 quarterback strategies, especially in Superflex dynasty leagues or Superflex redraft leagues, you play any quarterback, and sometimes when those quarterbacks break out, you have a really big week. We look at the wide receivers. Hey, my guy Jairus Sports Take, man, what's good, man? What's up, Manny? Man, our season is over. How you feel? Time to look towards the draft. Yeah, man, our season is over. I'm kind of mad. About that. I've just been focusing more so my streams on fantasy football and not on Washington football, because talking Washington football, it just makes me so upset. It makes me so mad. So I have to focus on the things that make me happy, which is fantasy football. But yeah, our season is over. I would say if I'm Ron Rivera and the coaching staff, they should just go ahead and play the younger guys, bench the veteran guys. It doesn't matter how much the veteran guys are making. Play the younger guys, see what you have. Because when you look at the Washington football schedule, I don't see them winning but maybe a possible 3 games. You're talking about maybe a split with the Giants. Well, they'll probably end up losing to the Giants this time around, but maybe Carolina, maybe you split with the Dallas Cowboys and the Eagles, maybe, and that's just a big maybe. If a scenario where Dallas Cowboys have, won this, Dallas Cowboys could probably lock up this division by week 15. That's just how bad this division is. And if that's the case, Dallas could be resting players, hence giving us a possible win. But I only see 2 to 3 more wins the rest of the way. So just play the younger guys and just move on with it. Jared says, that's the same thing I said. Treat every game like a preseason. Yes. Absolutely. Give the offense a series or 2 and throw in a young guy. Absolutely. You just have to do that, because if you're not winning now, you're pretty much developing players. You can't do both. They're trying to win. You don't have a kicker. The quarterback play has been so bad, and I don't blame Taylor Heineke, because he's just a backup. He's just a backup. He has reached his peak. I don't see him doing anything more than what he's doing now. So, yeah, it's just one of those things where you just have to just move on. Here goes third down. He says, bring Spanish Jesus back. I think that ship has sailed. They're done with Steven Montez. I don't see him come back on the team. But some news, Logan Thomas is coming back. So let's see what that does. I mean, for those of us who play fantasy football, I'm excited about that actually because I just lost Noah Fant in fantasy. So I'm looking forward to having Logan Thomas back. But yeah, man, let's look at some wide receivers. Let's look at the top tier wide receivers this week. A.J. Brown was number one. A.J. Brown is back. When you look at what he's done the last few games in PPR, 27 points, 31 points, 333 yards receiving and touchdown. And the next week, it was 155 yards and a touchdown. A.J. Brown has been the number one or top three wide receiver the last 2 weeks. A.J. Brown is somebody that you need to go ahead and roster. Third down says, do you think that they will actually trade Landon? The trade deadline is over. They had their opportunity to trade him. They couldn't trade him. Nobody wanted that contract, and it just is what it is. So I said this last year was supposed to be the last year, and last year was supposed to be this year. Yeah, man, it's crazy, man. It's crazy what's going on with the team. It's just really sad. It just really sucks being a Washington football fan. A.J. Brown having a great season this second half of the season. 16, 27, 31 points. If you have A.J. Brown, he's probably going to help you win the league this year. Michael Pittman, he's been great. Michael Pittman was number 2 this week. 20 points week 7, 30 points in week 8. Whoever the Titans are playing, you want to make sure that you start that wide receiver. And Michael Pittman is going to go against the go against the Jets, go against the Jags. Those are 2 great matchups. And I'm sad that I had Michael Pittman on my team week 1. He looked so bad. I dropped him thinking that Jalen Ramsey was going to shut him down in week 2, and he goes off in week 2 with 8 receptions for 123 yards. So, yeah, Michael Pittman, he's been great this season, man. 594 yards, 4 touchdowns. He's one of those guys that I wanted my Washington football team to go ahead and draft. But they didn't draft that guy. I mean, Washington football team ended up drafting AGG and Dayami Brown, who the jury's still out for Dayami Brown. We'll see what happens there. But back to fantasy, you got Chris Godwin at number 3, who's having a pretty good season. He's real consistent. Chris Godwin is a guy that gives you 15 to 20 points every single week. Yeah, he had a bad week in week 4 and week 6. But he's been real solid the rest of the way. Chris Godwin, Tariq Hill, number 4. Amari Cooper, number 5. Welcome back to relevancy. Number 6, Tyler Lockett. I don't know where you've been. Cooper Kupp, number 7. Cooper Kupp has been great. Deebo, number 8. Metcalf, number 9. Cole Beasley, number 10. Robert Woods, number 11, and Brandon Cooks, number 12. There was a lot of great wide receiver play. You see that 19 points didn't even make it into the top 12. You know what I'm saying? 19, 18. I mean, a lot of great wide receiver play this week. Deebo Samuels has been amazing. He just continues to just dominate. 31 points, 16, 10, 35, 16, 21, 23. He is a sure thing, and he's had some monster games, like where he had 189 yards receiving, 156 yards receiving, 171 yards receiving. He's one of the only guys in the entire league that's averaging over 100 yards per game. Deebo Samuel, he's amazing, and it just shows you what you can do when you use a player the way that they're supposed to be used. It's amazing. So if you can trade for Deebo Samuel, you trade for him. I think that this trend is going to continue. Everybody's saying that Trey Lance is going to be the new guy coming in. And look, with Deebo Samuel, you throw this guy a screen, he gets you yak, okay? He gets you yak. He can go deep. He can do so many different things. He's a durable wide receiver, knocking on wood, especially this season. He's been very, very solid and has been healthy. So he's had some monster receiving games. He needs to get those touchdown numbers up. And when he's scoring touchdowns, he's just so unstoppable. Cole Beasley is another one of those guys that's real solid. Last 2 games, 21.8 points in PPR format, 21 points. He just gets targets, man. 9 targets 2 weeks ago. or 3 weeks ago. Then last week, 13 targets for 10 receptions, 110 yards. Whenever Josh Allen is in trouble, this is who he's going to. This guy has 3 20-point games. 3 20-point games in his last 5 games. He's real solid. He doesn't get you the touchdowns, but what he will get you is the targets, which produces catches, which produces points. So grabbed Cole Beasley this week, stuck him into my lineup, and he was able to do some great things for me. Another guy that's waking up right now is Robert Woods. He's looking real good right now. 20 points this past week, 15 the week before that. 11 the week before that, 27 the week before that. So if you've had him for these last 4 weeks, he's finally starting to pay dividends. You know what I'm saying? He's starting to pay dividends. And there's a league where I have Robert Woods and A.J. Brown, and these two guys are turning up right now and helping me get wins. I think in that league I have A.J. Brown, Robert Woods, Deebo Samuels, Lockett, and Thielen. So now I got to trade one of these pretty good wide receivers for a RB2 to solidify my team. But yeah, fantasy football has been fun this year. Nothing stays the same. You got to make trades. You got to watch the trends. You got to see really what's going on. And I want to go ahead and dive into the second position group, third position group, which is the running back position. And let's talk about Michael Carter. He's a guy that I drafted at the end of all of my drafts, especially redraft. I drafted Michael Carter knowing that he could be the potential RB1 for the Jets. Week 1, 3 points. We were all discouraged. Week 2, 10 points. And I was still not grateful. Week 3, 4 points. And you know what? All I needed to see was just those first 3 weeks to say, you know what? Michael Carter might not be the guy. We've seen what has gone on and happened to Trey Sermon. So with Trey Sermon not being who we wanted Trey Sermon to be, that kind of puts some fear into me with Michael Carter. But I'm glad that I didn't trade him everywhere. I kept him in a few places. And I started to pay more and more attention after week 5. I was like, okay, week 4, he had 10 points. Week 5, he has 14 points. But when you look at the workload, 10 carries, 13 carries for 38 yards and a touchdown. I'm like, this guy is touchdown dependent. But starting from week 7, you started to see that this guy was receiving a lot of passes. So I'm like, you know what? There's a trend that's going on between Michael Carter and Ty Johnson. These two guys right here are commanding a lot of targets. And you guys know that targets means potential catches, which means potential points if you're playing in a point per reception type league. So week 7, he had 16 points. And I said, you know what? I'm going to starting Michael Carter. I said, you know what? Might as well start him because every league that I have Michael Carter, what that means is I didn't take running backs seriously. I just went to just grab any running backs that I could and then stash them, and then hopefully the end of the year, these guys become league winners. So what has happened is Michael Thomas went off. He just went crazy. For 32 points, he was the RB1 this week. If you look at it, man, he had 14 targets. You know the last running back to have over 14 targets this season was probably Najee Harris with that 19-target game. That was ridiculous. He had 14 catches that game. But this guy right here had 14 targets and caught 9 of them. That's 9 points off rip. He had 95 yards receiving, right? Then he ran the ball 15 times for 77 yards, 32.2 points a game. If you traded for Michael Carter, if you was a Michael Carter truther, if you have him on your roster, you're winning right now. If you don't have a Michael Carter on your roster right now, you're not going to get him. There's no possible way that you get Michael Carter for cheap. You got to overpay to get a guy like Michael Carter right now. Coming in at number 2 was Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon had a great week, 25 points. Joe Mixon has been solid. He's been solid. You know what I'm saying? Not a lot of 20-point games, but what he does give you is double-digit games. So anywhere you're getting, like you're getting anywhere from 10 to 11 to 13 points a game, you know, then you have like the 25, 26, 25 outlier games. At the end of the day, Joe Mixon has been good. He's been solid. But one of my favorite running backs this season has been Austin Eckler. This guy right here is tearing it up. I think he's like the number 2 running back in fantasy right now. Look at all these 20-point games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 games of over 22.5 points a game. That's what you call beast mode. This guy right here, he's catching a lot of passes. He has 5 rushing touchdowns. Yahoo is so terrible. They won't show you the receiving touchdowns or the receiving work, but it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, he's been great. He's been great. So Eckler came in at number 3. Aaron Jones at number 4. Darrell Henderson at number 5. Darrell Henderson is another one of those guys that's been really, really good. He's been really, really solid. every game that this guy has played in, he's giving you at least 15 to 16 points. He had one game versus the Lions where he only had 9 points. But if you remove that game from the equation, you're talking about 15, 17, 16, 16, 24, 22. Darrell Henderson has been good. If you drafted Darrell Henderson in the middle of your round in drafts, you're winning right now. Okay, number 5, Jonathan Taylor. Number 6, Najee Harris. Number 7, Eli Mitchell. Let's stop here. Eli Mitchell has looked good this season. You know what I'm saying? Starting from week 1, it seems like most times when he gets 100 rushing yards, he's going to get at least 18 carries. Okay, so you see the trends here. If he gets over 18 carries, most times, it was only one time that this guy did not do anything, which is versus the Eagles. He had 17 carries for 42 yards. Then he got hurt and missed those 2 games, came back, and it was kind of like, not good. So right now you're thinking versus Arizona, is Eli Mitchell the real deal or not? Eli Mitchell is going to be the RB1 for this team the rest of the season. He's their back for the future. I'm not saying that they give up on Trey Sermon, but I'm saying that Trey Sermon is the backup right now as we speak. Anthony, man, appreciate you hopping on the stream, man. Anthony says, how do you feel about Corey Davis? He's up and down. Corey Davis is up and down. I don't trust Corey Davis. I've never trusted Corey Davis. Titans fans, they feel like Corey Davis was so good. Corey Davis was on a contract year, played his heart out, got paid for the Jets, went to the Jets and became the same Corey Davis from years 1 to 3. All he does is has a good game, bad game, good game, bad game. That's Corey Davis in a nutshell. So in fantasy, I would say trade a Corey Davis. That's just my opinion. But if you like him, keep holding him. In Dynasty, you can keep holding him and wish and hope that he can do something. But even last game, I don't even know if he played, but Mike White has shown that he can throw the ball a little bit. So who knows? Maybe Corey Davis has a bounce-back game come next Sunday. But, hey, I'm not holding my breath for that. Ty Johnson, here's another guy. So when you talk about Corey Davis, there should be no reason why these running backs for the Jets are commanding a whole bunch of targets. That means that Corey Davis can't get open. How do I know? I don't know. I don't watch Jets games. But what I will say is Ty Johnson has 6 targets, right? Michael Carter had 14 targets. That's 20 targets for the running back. So that means something is going on with Corey Davis. I don't know. But Ty Johnson is another guy that when I look at the trend, I saw that he was getting a lot of receptions come week 7 and week 8. The running backs have been getting a lot of receptions, and it seems to be working for the Jets. You see that a lot of Ty Johnson's work has pretty much been receiving the ball. So Ty Johnson is going to be a hot waiver wire pickup this week. They're playing the Colts on Thursday. I will start both guys. I think both guys will have an excellent week this week. They're going to continue that trend of throwing it to the running backs. And then it could be a game where they're playing from behind versus the Colts. The Colts are pissed off losing to the Titans. They're going to come out here and play some amazing football. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Eli Mitchell, number 8. Ty Johnson, number 9. Melvin Gordon, number 10. Cordero Patterson, number 11. Boston Scott, number 12. It seemed like everybody in the Eagles' backfield got off. But when Miles Sanders is healthy, he doesn't get carries. He doesn't get goal line carries. And it's just crazy what they're doing to Miles Sanders over there in Philadelphia. I don't like it. I think it's wrong. I think that Miles Sanders is talented. But at the same time, there has to be something. Maybe they don't like the style of Miles Sanders. Maybe they don't like how he runs. So we'll definitely track that and see what happens moving forward. Before I get into the tight ends, a few more things I want to talk about concerning the running back position. Boston Scott, right? He can run in between. They gave him a lot of goal line carries. You saw that trend starting in week 7. If there's any Eagles running back that I'm going to trust this week, it's going to be Boston Scott, and he's not rostered in a lot of leagues. This is your opportunity to go ahead and pick up a Boston Scott and start him with confidence. Why? He's getting these goal line carries. He had a touchdown in week 7, had a touchdown in week 8, and he's going to go against the Chargers, who are not necessarily great at stopping the run. So if Boston Scott is able to find the end zone in week 9, it bodes well for you, and I'm guaranteeing you at least 10 to 15 points if he's able to get into the end zone come week 9. J.D. McKissick, he's going to be another guy that can be a potential league winner. If you look at the snaps for Antonio Gibson, he didn't get a lot of snaps, okay? There's something going on with Antonio Gibson, and we all don't really know what it is, okay? Ryan Hayes, what's up, man? Appreciate you hopping on the stream. It says, is Brian Edwards a add now with the news for Henry Ruggs? Absolutely. You missed it. I talked about it earlier on in the stream. I said I like Hunter Renfrow more than I like Brian Edwards. Brian Edwards is my guy. I wanted my Washington football team to draft him, but yes, Brian Edwards is a add now. He should be the hottest wide receiver being picked up this week. I do like Brian Edwards this week. So, yeah, go ahead and scoop him if he's available. Anthony says, should I pick up Carson Wentz and drop Baker or wait? I like Carson Wentz. If there's a way that you can get Wentz and keep Baker, then you do that. But if I had to choose between Wentz and Baker, I'm choosing Carson Wentz. And I'm going to show you why. Let me show you something real quick. Carson Wentz, I believe, is a top 12 quarterback right now. And you got to go ahead and jump on it. Like you want to jump on trends. You know, you want to get on these trends before it's too late. Carson Wentz is playing the Jets this week. So let's see where Carson Wentz ranks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. He's a QB1. The top 12 are QB1s. So you got to go ahead and grab Carson Wentz right now. If you look at what he's done the past, let's say 4 weeks, 22 points, 17, 20, 20. And this is in a league where touchdowns are worth 4 points. Just imagine what the points look like in the leagues that, you know, touchdown passes are worth 6 points. So yes, Carson Wentz is a must pick up right now. I think that Carson Wentz is tearing it up. So yeah, it's definitely somebody that you want to go ahead and grab. You go. Anthony says, but Patrick is my starting quarterback. I need a good backup. Well, if you need a good backup, give me Carson Wentz over Baker Mayfield any day of the week. And on top of that, Patrick Mahomes is starting not to be a must start anymore. He's been looking bad. Patrick Mahomes has looked bad the last 3 weeks. If you don't believe me, go look at the numbers. I'm pretty sure that you've seen it, and I hope that Patrick Mahomes have not caused you to lose some games this week. But yeah, man, let's go ahead and get back to the running backs real quick. Okay, so here's the running backs for week 8. Let me see if there's anybody waiver wire ready. Okay, so Rex Burkhead was an RB2 this week. He could be a possible pickup. You know, the Houston Texans, they run these 3 backs, these 4 backs. If you're desperate for running back, maybe Rex Burkhead might be a thing. We have to remember, Rex Burkhead can not only run, he can also catch. So he's just another guy just to have on your roster if you're playing in the deep league and if you have space. Carlos Hyde is a guy that nobody's talking about. James Robinson went down. I think that Carlos Hyde is going to be a top waiver wire pick come this week. So pick up a Carlos Hyde if you can, if he's available, just in case. We don't even know if James Robinson is going to play. You know, and if you look at it, 13 points is solid. He was also able to get involved in the passing game. You know what I'm saying? He caught, 6 catches for 40 yards. That's an automatic 10 points. That's an automatic 10 points in fantasy football. So that's beautiful right there. Who else is out here? Jamar Jefferson, you can leave him out there. Zach Moss, you can leave him out there in waivers. I don't trust him. James Conner continues to get all these vulture touchdowns. James Conner has 8 rushing touchdowns this season. If you look at all the games that James Conner has had this season, he hasn't rushed for more than 71 yards. His rushing has been terrible. You know what I'm saying? 50 yards, 40 yards, 50 yards, 29 yards, 71 yards, 64 yards. But guess what? He gets into the end zone. He's had 3 games of 2 touchdowns apiece. So he scored in every single game but 3. So that's something to consider. If you're trying to trade for James Conner, he could potentially help you win some weeks. What's good, Joe Bo, man? Appreciate you hopping on the stream, man. You know how we do it, man. We're talking fantasy football all the time. This is a fantasy football stream, waiver wire show. Hopefully, I drop some nuggets that can possibly help you win your week. But yeah, James Conner is a guy that you want to trade for. Let me see if there's any other guys that jump out to me. Damien Harris has been pretty good the last few weeks. He's been good all season, but the last 3 weeks, he's been amazing. Okay, 18 carries, 101 yards, 1 touchdown. 14 carries, 106 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's some amazing efficiency to get 106 yards off of just 14 carries, let alone 2 touchdowns. That's just amazing to me. If he did all this to the Jets, imagine what Jonathan Taylor's about to do to the Jets come Thursday night. I mean, they're going to rely on that run, okay? Damien Harris again last week, 23 carries, 80 yards, 1 touchdown. He was the guy that I drafted in the middle of my drafts, and this guy right here has been helping me win a lot of my leagues. So if you have a Damien Harris, that's great. If you don't have him and it's not too late, you can definitely trade for this guy. He's available. He's available for trade if you're talking right. If you have some wide receiver twos that you're not going to play, package a couple of them and trade them for a Damien Harris. This guy right here is going to be involved every single week. He plays Carolina. Carolina used to have a good defense, but now they're vulnerable. They play Cleveland, another decent matchup. ATL, Tennessee Titans. Those are 4 great matchups coming up, and I'm telling you guys, this guy can help you win your league. If you look in the playoffs, which is 15, 16, 17, right? For most leagues, you have Indianapolis. Buffalo's going to be tough, but we don't even know if Buffalo is resting some players or things going to happen. But that week 17 versus the Jags, that can be a potential championship Super Bowl winning running back for you. I see him going crazy against the Jags, especially if the Patriots continue to win games and continue to stay relevant. As of right now, I think they have 1, 2, 3, 4. They have 4 wins. They're 4-4. So that means they're going to be contending. You want to have these players that are contending for playoffs, right? That means they're going to play hard for you down the stretch. You don't want these players that are on teams that need to rest players or things of that nature. You want these guys that are going to be in here doing some work. Devontae Booker had a great game. If you look at what he's done the last 4 weeks, 20 points, 10 points, 14, 17, it's amazing. It's amazing. And if he's doing all this in this Giants offense, that means that when Saquon comes back for the second half of this season, starting from let's say Saquon comes back week 11 or week 12, he's going to go bananas if Devontae Booker is doing what he's doing right now, whether the Giants have a good record or not. Saquon wants to play. So, yeah, man, that's pretty much it for the running back position. Let's look at the tight end position. Tons of injuries right now with guys like Waller being out. And one thing about the tight end position is that it's real fluid. It's just new guys every week. You have multiple guys scoring 12 points or more every single week. You just got to go ahead and find the correct or the right tight end. This week, one of my sleepers was Dan Arnold. He came in number 2 after T.J. Hockenson, number 1. Dan Arnold had a lot of targets. He had 10 targets. He caught 8 receptions for 68 yards. They traded a former first-round pick to get this guy. So what does that mean? Dan Arnold's going to be very, very involved. He's going to be involved. Why would you trade for a guy and not play him? So Dan Arnold is very involved. You got Pat Friarmuth. With Ebron being hurt, this guy stepped up in a big way. 7 targets, 4 receptions, 44 yards, and a touchdown. The week before that, 7 targets, 7 receptions, 58 yards. So this guy right here, although he's a rookie, he's having a really, really solid season. And look for Big Ben to go ahead and continue to target this guy. So there's tons of tight ends out there. This is for once we have a league or a season where tight ends don't even matter, or tight ends matter. Like tight ends are more available. There's so many tight ends out there instead of just having those usual 3 or 4. Brevin Jordan stepped up for the Texans. Dallas Goedert, one of my favorites. I have him just about in every single league. 12 points, 13 points. He's going to continue to get better and better and better. It's all on Jalen Hurts. But one thing I like is that this guy right here, he's involved in the passing game. 70 yards 2 weeks ago and 72 yards last week. So he's averaging 71 yards a game the last 2 games. And I expect that trend to continue. This guy right here wants to show that he's one of the better tight ends out there in the league. Who else? Jesse James. Like I said, guys, there's so many tight ends out there that you can stream pretty much any one and get away with it. Tyler Cochran is a guy that's going to continue to get targets and continue to do some solid things for you. 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, because of that bye week, 5 targets, 3 receptions, 71 yards. Last week, 7 targets, 5 receptions, 55 yards. Tyler Cochran, as the season goes on, he's going to get better and better and better. It seems like the pecking order for the Vikings happens to be Thielen, or Jefferson, depending on which one is hot. And then Tyler Cochran as that third guy. It's no more KJ Osborne. Tyler Cochran has stepped up as that third option for this offense. It's not even Dalvin Cook. They're looking for the tight end before they even look for the dump-off pass to Dalvin Cook. So, I mean, you guys can listen to me. You guys can ignore me. But I'm telling you guys, Tyler Cochran is going to be solid down the stretch. I got to go pick up. Jeff Swain or Swan, for the Titans. He seems to be the guy. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was thinking Ferkshire. Ferkshire is horrible. Ferkshire is not good. I think this is the guy that you need to go ahead and grab. And Evan Ingram, he's out there. He's out there. With all the injuries that's happening right now with the Giants, I think that Evan Ingram could possibly be a guy that commands more targets. 2 weeks ago, 8 targets. Last night, 4 targets. And he's playing Vegas. They're pretty decent versus the tight ends, but you just never know. Daniel Jones has to throw the ball to somebody, right? And we all know that Slayton hasn't been that guy this season. So the pecking order, if Kadarius Toney and Sterling Shepard don't play next week, you can look towards Evan Ingram having 10 targets easily. And with 10 targets, y'all know with targets comes receptions, and with receptions come points. So it's infinite possibilities when somebody is getting targeted or being targeted. So we'll see what happens there. Speaking of being targeted, somebody just sent me a trade in my basketball league. I guarantee you it's Jobo. Oh, oops. Sorry, a trade was done that was not involving me at all. Okay, that's great. That's great. So, yeah, tight ends, man, just pick one and just play one. Don't overthink it, man. This is so many out there. Tyler Croft and Jack Doyle. What's the other tight end? Mo Alley Cox had a horrible week this week, but he's been solid. For those of you guys who lost Robert Tonyan, just pick any one of these guys. I'm not even going to spend time telling you pick this tight end, pick that tight end. But Mike Gesicki has looked good this season. Let's look at what the tight ends have looked like the entire season. And let's see where we drafted these guys. I drafted Travis Kelsey, number 15 pick overall. Okay. Jobo said, don't do me like that. Hey, I thought it was you, man. You're on the stream and you're like, hey, Manny's here. So let me just go ahead and send him a trade. So that wasn't you. My bad, bro. So let's look at what the tight ends have done this year. Travis Kelsey, I drafted him in the second round, mid-second round, or early second round. And he's paid dividends, but the last 3 weeks has been bad, or the last 2 weeks. Anytime a tight end is giving you 17 points, you take it. But, I mean, the last 2 games, even though he had 12 targets, 7 catches, 65 yards, last night, it was just horrible. Then he fumbled. So, I don't know what's going on, but I will definitely catch you guys on that next stream.